Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 3 at Woodbine on Saturday is the Grade 2 Dance Smartly Stakes. Fillies and Mares going a mile and a quarter on the turf. Let's take a look at this field. Chad Brown's got a toile in here, the number 1, Mike, and it must be nice to be Chad because you've got a toile, a group stakes winner in France, working really well at Saratoga, but you've got Sister Charlie, and you've got Uni, and you've got Newspaper of Record, and you've got 12 others. So you just find a spot for 175,000 at Woodbine.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly true. We'll see if this is the right spot this time, because it kind of felt like he found a good spot for her last time in her stateside debut, and that didn't work out too well.
Like many European invaders, she doesn't have a lot of early speed. We take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. In this short field, pace might be a very interesting commodity, an important commodity to have. Bold Script on the outside certainly has speed, although she came from off it last time out. Elizabeth Way won the very one at Gulfstream on the lead. I think she's going.
Yeah, I do too. I sort of felt like the Elizabeth Way might be the horse to take up the running in here. I won't be surprised when Bold Script goes forward either, but I sort of felt like you might see Elizabeth Way on the lead here.
Now, 812 cost a lot of money over the winter, sent to Chad. They ran her as the favorite in the Grade 1 Gamely off the layoff. And I remember you and I had serious reservations for some reason or another about her in the Gamely, and for once we were right. She just didn't really fire that day. She kind of broke inward. She was last on the rail early. She finished up evenly. She probably needed the race, although you really don't worry about Chad with layoff horses. I think this extra distance in this class relief works for her.
Yeah, certainly they're supposed to. It just sort of feels like when you go back and watch the Gamely that my inclination was to say, well, she didn't run well in there. Maybe she needed the race. But do you really feel like Chad was going to ship her across the country and run her in a Grade 1 if she was a short horse? I don't know, man. I couldn't talk myself into that. She was pretty bad last time, and I just didn't really want a short price on her as she comes back in here. Although there's an argument to be made that she's just the horse to beat.
Theodora B is the number 2, and Theodora B's last race in the Trillium doesn't look great on paper, and I'm not putting any stock into it for the simple reason that I think Theodora B is a turf horse, not a synthetic horse, and that Theodora B was merely using that race as a means to an end, the end being this Grade 2 Dance Smartly. Michael Dickinson certainly knows what he's doing.
He does. We'll see what happens here. I've liked this horse for a while. She's actually run some good turf races. The big reservation that I have with her, Dan, is how far does she want to go? I'm not really convinced that she's a true, sort of distance turf horse. I think she might be a little better going shorter. That being said, she ran pretty well in the Dick last year when she was second in that race. She went a mile and a quarter on synthetic in the Maple Leaf after that and ran okay in that race. There are things to like about this horse, and she's going to be a price in here.
Let's watch Romantic Pursuit's last start at Keeneland. She was the beaten favorite this day. She's in the Godolphin Blue. She's going to get out right now, and she's just going to be one paced at the end of this race to finish third. I wonder if maybe she just simply regressed off of that 93 Beyer speed figure in her first start off the break for Brendan Walsh. Distance has never been an issue for her, and I do like her tactical speed a lot. I think she's a bounce-back candidate.
Yeah, she could get a good trip in this race, and you're right that the distance is not something you worry about with her. I just kind of wonder how good she is, Dan. She ran some okay races last year as a 3-year-old. I didn't love her when she was in New York with Kieran McLaughlin. Maybe she's improved this year. I'm not so sure about that, though. She's just not my kind of horse, and it's not like she's going to be some kind of great price in here.
Elizabeth Way wired Romantic Pursuit in the very one at Gulfstream, then was in too tough against the likes of Mean Mary and Secret Message, but she found the home cooking to her liking at Woodbine. They cut her back to a one-turn mile, and here's what happened in the Grade 2 Nassau. She has to work in here. She's on the outside, and another time the horse on the lead looks like she might be on her way to a graded stakes victory, but Elizabeth Way is resolute, and she just keeps coming and coming and coming, and she's going to win by a neck. And I'm not worried about the extra distance for her. She's a grinding sort that if she gets out there in a comfortable rhythm up close or on the lead, she could be a handful.
No, I agree with that. I don't worry about the distance with her. And she's supposed to get the right trip in this race because she can be forward, even if somebody else decides to go down. She doesn't need the lead. So, all those things are positive. She was remember we did the preview for that race, and for some reason in the Nassau, I just felt like she was going to be the favorite. And then when they went to the post for that race, she was over 5-1, and she managed to get it done. We'll see how they bet this one. I don't, if she's 2-1, I'm not saying that I would take her in this race, but I do think she's going to be a handful in here.
You thought she would be the favorite because I picked her. Art of Almost is the number 5. The winner 2 starts back on turf, going a mile and a 16th. They ran back on synthetic with her, and I have to admit I was a little disappointed with her effort in the Trillium because she's done some good work on synthetic surfaces in the past. I wonder if Art of Almost is just a tiny, tiny, tiny cut below the best horses in this race.
And that was my concern with her as well. She did win 2 starts back, with a really good trip to get it done. Her race prior to that at Churchill is actually better than it looks, Dan. That was a really contentious pace, and a big long shot came from last to first to win that race. So she ran well that day too. So her last 2 turf starts are good. She's got tactical speed. As a relatively lightly raced 4-year-old, she could improve again.
Bold script, just missed in the Woodbine Oaks. Last year, she won her most recent start. We'll watch it over a synthetic surface, and she did it from off the pace. We know she can be comfortable on the lead. She was supposed to win this race. In her second start back against optional claimers, she's odds on. She's striking the front right now, and she's really winning this race in fairly comfortable fashion. Only an 82 Beyer speed figure. I am a little bit concerned about the extra distance, and I do wonder if she's better on synthetic than she is on turf, although it is close.
Yeah, those are my concerns too. I don't know about the distance with her, and I do think it's fair to wonder if she's as good on turf. Obviously, they've done very little turf racing with her since she was a 2-year-old, but I'm worried about the surface switch.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 2 Dance Smartly Stakes. You're going with Theodora B. 6-1 on the morning line, tactically inclined, distance no issue, goes out for a master trainer.
Yeah, I just couldn't take Chad's horse on top off with a game lead where she just didn't do any running, Dan, and she's going to get bet again. I'll take a shot again. I'm not so convinced that Theodora B wants to go this far, but I do think she's pretty good. I think she fits pretty well in this race.
I'm going to give her one more chance at Toile, and I have to admit, grudgingly so. I tried to find someone else that I really liked, but I think that Toile is just going to find this long stretch at Woodbine to her liking, and she'll come running. I think Romantic Pursuit might improve a little bit from just off of the pace. Mike's going 2-1-4-3. I'm going 1-3-4-5. It's the Grade 2, a Dance Smartly Stakes. It's race 3 at Woodbine on Woodbine Oaks Saturday. It has an approximate post time of 2:03 Eastern. Best of luck.